Hello, hello, Ederson Oliveira here for DNNHero.com, and I have with me my partner in crime, Scott. Scott, how are you doing, man?
Ho ho ho!
Ho ho ho! I don't know if ridiculous is the name or funny or I don't know. I don't know if people will take me seriously with
It's
that
Christmas
hat.
spirit.
That's what I'm trying to say here. It's our
Yeah.
last episode before the big holidays coming up, and I said, you know what? Why not? Why not make fun of me? Okay, so we have a few things here to talk about. Let me put my browser up here. So I think even though this has been used for about over a month now, but I think it's worth mentioning again that now the .NET Core stack went open source, and again we cannot underestimate the impact, the shift of positioning of Microsoft when they are bringing their core technology open. It's a huge move for them, and I guess that's maybe people will say that it's a bit late, but you know what? I think that to make a move like that, it's never too late. It's always time, and there is a huge community out there still on the .NET platform. So again, they are getting very very close to the community. They have now this .NET Foundation.org, which is the umbrella organization that is really overseeing the progress of the open source project now. So again, big move for Microsoft. This also ties up with a free product that they put out there, which is the Visual Studio Community 2013. They mentioned that it is free for non-enterprise applications, which really means that if you are doing that, if you are using Visual Studio for commercial applications, you should be paying your license. But this Visual Studio Community Edition 2013 should have pretty much all the tools that a developer needs to work with .NET. And again, I'm just going one step beyond here. This is about .NET. Scott, you have any opinions on that? Any takes on that?
I think for me, it sounds exciting because I'm a C# developer. I mean, just for C# developers in general, I think as far as your career goes, this could open up a lot of new doors. Because like we talked about before, is if the core is open source, that makes it available for projects like Mono. We talked a little bit about that, or Entity Framework 7, which will be coming out soon. These other open source projects that surround the .NET Core can now flourish. Mono being the one that allows you to run .NET code on Linux. Always was a problem because every time the new .NET Framework came out, it didn't work, or you couldn't work it on there. So it opens I guess it's opening the door to be more like Java, to be able to be the CLR can run on different systems. And they're also talking about, I don't know if they mentioned it there, is the difference between the full.NET framework and a new version, which is just will be called Core CLR, I think it's going to be, which will be a very stripped down version of the .NET framework so now you can have different levels of the .NET framework running on mobile or smaller devices that don't need the full framework I think it's exciting, again, allowing the .NET framework to run on different devices, different platforms, and actually expand the open source community around it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big factors behind that, is really to be able to adapt the codes to the different OSs out there, and be able to adapt that quickly without relying only on their internal resources. So again, just really wanted to mention about this that they just brought this announcement just about a month ago. So again, big move, and I think it's one of the biggest move that Microsoft has done ever. In any case, just moving forward here now, coming back to our ecosystem, to the DNN ecosystem, just want to mention a few blogs and a few blog posts that I saw recently that really caught my attention. The first one is from Philip Becker. Philip Becker is from the DNN Connect Europe, and I'm not sure exactly where he's located at, but this is a nice post that he put together. Actually, a two-part post called Social Networking in DNN, and it's really about how you put together the social features of DNN or using the different modules, which is not that straightforward. But the interesting thing is that this ties very well together with a video series that we have put together a few months ago, which is called How to Create Social Sites with .NET Nuke, with DNN. Again, that's it. They can really go well together. So again, a very nice post from Philip Becker, part 1 and part 2. And as usual, all links will be posted here in the video post. That's the first post that I saw interesting lately. The next one I want to mention is a post from Will Stroll, and it's about his presentation on database tips and tricks that he did during DNNCon. And again, you can really get a lot of insightful tips and tricks here from this presentation about how to clear over tables that have grown too big, and how to do a lot of different things, how to do maintenance on your DNN database. So again, a very nice post based on his presentation during the DNNCon. Again, Scott, if you want to interrupt me at any time, I'll just keep going here, okay?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay, so the next one is actually one that I was part of, is the DNN Hangout that we had back on December 2nd, and
That was with Will interviewing you, right?
Yes, Will was interviewing me, and finally he seemed to have gotten my last name right, but I'm still tutoring. I'm still tutoring him on that. But so again, it was a nice hangout, nice chat with Will Stroll and Joe Brickman. I was talking about how to use page templates on DNN. And again, I could only do so much with the time that was allocated to that presentation, but I have expanded that presentation into a full video series that I call, working with templates in DNN 7. And during that presentation, the Hangout, I just spoke about the page level. Now, on this tutorial series, I have actually covered from the module level to the page level, to themes as well, what you should look whenever you're buying a theme in regards to templates, and on a site level as well. So I've expanded the scope of the discussion and covered a lot more here. So that's about that. Next is really about the interview that I did with Mandeep Singh from Mandeep's. Very good interview, and he was very open. He brought very, very interesting insights into his business and his modules and themes as well, because they do have themes too. So again, check it out. It was about 40 minutes interview here, and again, the link will be there as well. Now, okay, let's see. No, I'm gonna skip this one for now. Actually, I want to mention about the DNN Sharp. Let me open this up here. Yeah, so I want to briefly mention that this coming Tuesday, let me see the date here. This coming Tuesday, December 16th, Bodan Litescu from DNN Sharp is running the presentation, and he's promising us to have our DNN portals running 10 times faster, So again, really curious about what he has to bring here. Any expectations about that, Scott? Because I know that you have signed up as well.
Yeah. What was interesting is in the MVP forums, he was mentioning, and I think this is a public YouTube video, so this is not a private thing, but he has a video on URL Master, one of their products, and showing that if you just install URL master and not even configure it, but just make it your default friendly provider with all the default settings, it increases your page performance by 25%. So yeah, so it was part of that. And then what this video is going to show is how you can run DNN on, I think it was Amazon EC2 or EC3. I can't remember the name of it, where he says it runs the app pool process runs on 70 megabytes, which is pretty good, because I don't know if you've run DNN before, even 7.3 with all the improvements. I don't think I've gotten an app pool lower than like 250 megabytes or 300 megabytes. Typically, a lot of our sites run over a gig of app pool memory. So to be able to run, like I said, on what they said was like a $10 a month plan, running DNN on that with 70 megabyte app pool and yeah, I mean, on a $10 a month plan, what he said, something about 60 pages per, I can't remember the metric he said. Yeah, I mean, I'm really interested to see that.
Me too, me too. And again, I have signed up for that one. Maybe we can expand after that. But again, guys, I mean, please go for it. I mean, let's.
I'll get you that link to that video that at least shows that he did on YouTube for the URL master performance. That's interesting.
Very good, very good. So looking forward to that one this coming Tuesday. Now, I want to briefly talk about this interview that I will be doing with David Smith from Smith Consulting. They are the guys behind the famous Smith Commerce, Smith Cart. Yeah. And I'll be doing that interview just this coming Monday, December 15th. So it should be pretty good, and I really want to dig deeper into their business, their company, their modules. And again, if by any chance you see this, although I mean this will go live only on Monday, so you may not have enough time, but I wish I would have a little bit more time so I could allow people to send me some questions as well, so I could ask them. But yeah, that's a big one. An interview with Dave Smith from Smith Consulting. Now I want to bring this up. I always like to highlight new vendors, new sellers, people that are doing slightly interesting things, slightly different things on the ecosystem. So I came across with this company called WeWeave. They are a new vendor on the DNN ecosystem, and I'm just gonna browse through a few of their. Actually, let me go to the beginning here. Okay, so WeWeaver is a new vendor, as you can see here. They just came to the marketplace on September 14th, and they came up with two modules. One is this one that they call Dynamic Roles. This module will allow you to segment your users, your DNN users, on different roles, but automatically. It could be based on cookies that you have set on the website. It could be based on the URL parameters. It could be based on various different things. Not only assigning roles, but also removing roles. So again, there are. I think that
it's almost like a marketing automation tool.
Exactly. I mean, it works very much like a marketing automation tool, and so that's one of their modules. The second module that they have is this Google Analytics module, which extends the simple page tracking mechanism that comes out of the box with DNN, and this allows us that are using more advanced features of Google Analytics to track events, to track, let's say I want to track whenever someone clicks on this button or that link or do this action, So that's what this module does, and yeah, so they have a free evaluation here. Now, the interesting thing that they have done on top of developing those two modules, together with them, they also put together a blog post on the DNN store explaining in more details and going through examples of those modules usage. So again, there is a blog post on the Google Analytics Advanced module, and there is another one on the DNN role module as well. So again, you have those two new modules from a new vendor, and together you also have some interesting blog posts on how to actually use those modules. You know, some interesting use case of those modules. Yeah, so I wanted to highlight them. The next thing that I want to highlight is, now I was talking about modules. Now I just want to mention briefly a new theme that I saw coming in place just about, I think, a week ago or so. Yeah, just about a week ago. That's from Armand Datemma. And he's, again, a very, very good designer, great member of the ecosystem. And he brought this new theme called Our DNN. And it has, you know, a few color schemes. It has a lot of page templates, which is one of the key elements that I recommend that any theme should have, any good, you know, well put together theme should have. So again, very flexible, a lot of different colors. There's even an online theme builder here. You know, I haven't tried this, but it might be an interesting option as well if you need to customize certain things on their skin. But here's a demo, nice demo here. Again, a lot of page templates. I think that over 50 page templates. I mean, that's almost too much. But again, you have all those different page templates, a lot of short codes, which is those, you know, little HTML snippets of code that you can just copy and paste and use it on the DNN websites that is using that scheme. So I want to highlight this nice theme from Armand Datemma. Okay. Anything you want to mention? I mean, any plugs you want to do, Scott, from your side there?
Well, this may happen before our next chat in January, but the 7.4 release is going to have a workflow API, and the CK editor will be the new default editor. The plan date for that is January 13th. And so I think everyone's gearing up for that right now. I think it's in QA either this week or next week. So right now it's in QA. So, and then I think maybe in January, I may get a preview of the 7.5 MVC implementation. So we'll see about that. But that may be more something we talk about in February.
Got it. So January scheduled, beginning of January scheduled to come 7.4. Is it?
7.4.
7.4. Okay.
January 13th.
January 13th. Okay, that's I'm gonna put this down.
It's exactly a month from now, so it might come out before our next. We'll see.
Perfect. Okay. And do you want to talk a little bit about your next set in the next video for DNN Hero, Scott?
Yeah, I'm just wrapping up. I've got to just finish filming it, but it's going to be Angular, building an Angular module. And I got some inspiration from some of the blog posts by Daniel Metler, and because they're doing a lot of Angular stuff with their Too Sexy content, or in conjunction with their Too Sexy content. And he had some examples in some blog posts where he was using it to pull Too Sexy content and lay it out on a page. But what I haven't seen anybody do yet, and maybe it's just because I haven't seen or I haven't found it, but someone doing an actual a real world module, right? And there actually has been some Angular sessions at our last DNN conferences, but again, doing one that's an actual module. What I took was, if you remember our client-centric module, where we completely rebuilt the typical DNN module using Knockout, and then I layered onto that the if you recall, the last search set that I did was taking that Knockout module and then layering on the search into it. Then I took that entire module and I just rebuilt it all with Angular. So, I mean, a real world example of Angular using DNN framework services. I actually got a text from a guy that I used to work with who was saying he's trying to build an Angular module and he can't figure out how to get how to make a call to a service framework, which is a fairly simple, common scenario. And I was like, come on, why can't you figure that out? It's got to be easy. And then, weeks later, I finally have it working. It's, it wasn't that hard. It was just, how do you do a best practice? And again, you're going to find a lot of Angular examples out there, but the Angular is a huge framework, and how it fits into how it fits into making a DNN module is just not something that's very common yet. So I'm pretty excited about this, because I think this demonstration is going to be one of the first times where you're going to see a real world implementation of Angular, and hopefully it's as best practice as I could get, And so I'm excited about this next or this next video set.
Okay, so now that you did a set with Knockout, you are just wrapping up your set with Angular.
Right.
In your next new development project, if you are supposed to pick, and I guess that you will supposed to pick unless you're following some standards of the organization that you work for, but if you're supposed to pick, which one you pick? And is that really, it's this one or that one? Is that really it?
Well, what's interesting is, whenever you're looking at UI frameworks like Kendo or Angular or whatever, one of the issues you have to determine is you pretty much want to pick one and go with it, because they're heavy. There's and once you start developing with it, it's hard you don't want to combine Kendo and Angular. Just too big, heavy, or even add Bootstrap into that mix, right? And then so a lot of app developers, when they're determining what to start with, they're gonna determine a stack that they want to stick with. Well, what's interesting in the CMS world, and this is not just DNN, it's anybody, is you kind of want to go with what the CMS is using. I know I think it's Umbraco, they just rebuilt their entire front end natively using Angular. Now, DNN's not there yet. They're still using Knockout. So, if it's simple functionality and it's not going to be some large project, I may still stick with Knockout for some things, just because I know that Knockout's already registered in the framework, and I can just invoke it, Knockout and jQuery. But I got to tell you, I really like Angular a little bit better than Knockout. In some ways, it's easier. It was a bigger learning curve for me. But to be able to organize your code with Angular is something that Knockout doesn't have. That dependency injection framework, that's the core. You don't really have that with Knockout. What you have with Knockout is obviously UI binding, your model binding, which Angular has, and then you have templating, which Angular has too. But I like the templating and binding in Angular a little better. It's less complex without doing observables and dealing with, did you make this observable and this an array of observables? And, you don't have to deal with that complexity. But yeah, so I really like it for that aspect, building complex client-side projects and being able to, build these modules. In Angular, they're called modules too. And just like in DNN, when you want to build a complex application, you start with building these small units of these modules, these units of work, and then you put them together to build a more complex, application. And that's the way Angular works from just a client side perspective. So that's what I really like about it. But I'm hoping that maybe I and Daniel can influence, DNN to maybe start using it in the core, so that module developers don't have to be like, oh, I need to register this because it's not part of the core.
Got it. Okay. Very, very, very good. Very good position there. Yeah. Perfect. Mm-hmm. So looking forward to the next set, and it should be coming up, I guess, within a week or so.
I think so. Yeah. Before Christmas. It'll be our Christmas present.
Yeah, you're gonna be doing some Angular there on Christmas Eve, okay?
That's right, yeah.
Send me a video if you're doing that, okay? Please.
Right.
Okay, so that's pretty much it. I just wanted to wrap up things, having a quick look back at 2014 and see what has changed in our on our ecosystem and on our parent ecosystem as well. I mean, if you look at Microsoft, the opening initiatives that we have been seeing more and more from them, I mean, really tells us that there's a shift in direction there. And it's good to see that on our ecosystem too, on our DNN ecosystem too, which is, at some point DNN was close to the community. Then at some point it got a little bit far from the community, but now again we are back together with the community. So it seems that there was a big theme on 2014, which is, let's get close to the community, not only from Microsoft's perspective, but from DNN perspective as well. So again, I just hope and I wish that this will be carried over to 2015 and to the future. And again, really looking forward to a good 2015. Wishing for everybody a good 2015. I know that we will be putting a lot of new stuff together, not just from the DNN Hero brand standpoint, but I also have a lot of thoughts on some new initiatives that we can be pushing together. And yeah, that's about it. Any last words, Scott?
No, I think that's it for me. Happy holidays to all of our subscribers and followers.
Ho, ho, ho. Happy holidays. See you guys 2015.
Yeah, Happy New Year.